Let me tell you, there are moments in life when you realize right down to your bones that some folks aren't just a pain in the ass, they're a goddamn hurricane blowing through everything you care about. And that's how this whole mess started right there on my own stretch of Texas dirt, with Karen Bradshaw in her shiny white BMW screaming, "Move your filthy cows, you disgusting redneck trash horn," blaring tires flinging up clouds of dust so thick you'd think the apocalypse had landed on my grandfather's ranch. My cattle prize heifers pregnant and worth more than some folks' houses scattered in every direction, panic running straight through them like a shot of bad whiskey. You gotta understand, this land isn't just a plot on a map to me. My granddad worked these 50 acres with his own two hands, cleared the mesquite, fought off rattlesnakes, and built up a legacy buried right here by Willow Creek. Every morning, same as him, I wake up to the cattle lowing the sweet bite of hay in the air, the distant creak of old wood baking in the sun. This isn't property, it's roots. It's where I proposed to Sarah, where we raised our kids, where 3 generations of Riversides lie watching the sunrise. So when that entitled woman started barreling through my private ranch road like it was a shortcut to Starbucks, let me tell you, I tried to be civil. I walked out church polite and explained this is private land. Always has been since my granddad laid the road in '42. Deeds in black and white signed back when a man's handshake still meant something. She just smiled one of those fake ice-cold grins and said, "Oh, honey, this little dirt road that's been public forever. Bless your heart, sugar. We'll just see about that." And every Texan knows when someone drops a "bless your heart" laced with venom, you'd better brace for a fight. Next morning, she nearly mowed me down, moving my Angus bull 1,500 pounds of prime beef and more valuable than her damn car. She floored it, horn blaring, cattle scattering dust, choking me out. And right then I knew this wasn't just a rude neighbor. This was war. Did I mention Karen didn't even bother hiding her moves? She rolled into Millbrook Estates from Dallas. All real estate flash and cash, slid herself into the HOA president seat, and decided her community improvements meant making life hell for everyone who didn't bow down to Queen Karen. Turns out, my ranch road shaved 3 minutes off her drive. 3 minutes. She spent more time shellacking on her face paint every morning than she'd save, but she wasn't the type to ask permission. And so began the legal onslaught. 3 days after the bull incident, a process server showed up sweating through a cheap suit and handed me a packet thick enough to choke a mule. Legal threats, talk of public easement, and continuous use all meant to scare a country boy into rolling over. Trouble is, my daddy didn't raise quitters. I spent 6 hours in the courthouse digging up deeds that proved beyond any lawyer's bluff my road was private. Hell, we'd even corrected a survey error in '87. Every scrap of paper, every map, every dusty record, Riverside land, no question. Now, Karen's real plan wasn't just about her commute. Eddie, the mail carrier who knows more local secrets than Google, tipped me off. She'd been selling ranch access as a premium feature to her real estate buyers, promising authentic Texas living minus the cattle smell. Over $2 million in pending sales, all relying on her delivering something that wasn't hers. Imagine that, selling what you don't own, counting on intimidation to make it real. That's when I stopped hoping she'd see reason. I put up cameras, logged every trespass, started building my case. But Karen, she doubled down: more drive-thrus, noise complaints about my cattle, claims my consulting business was illegal. She left my gates open, endangering my livestock, nearly bankrupting me on insurance threats, $800 a month for public access liability thanks to her anonymous reports. Sabotage after sabotage, and the sheriff just shrugged. "Keep documenting, Jake. We need more for criminal charges." Still, there was a pattern to her madness. Betty Coleman at the courthouse whispered, Karen's ex was a Dallas city councilman. She had the ear of local commissioners, the power to turn a neighbor squabble into a political brawl. On Facebook, she painted me as a villain, blocking emergency access, whipping up the HOA into a frenzy. Her lies made it to TV, where she played the part of the victim with all the skill of a daytime soap star. But karma, she's got a long memory. Maria Santos, a straight-shooting local agent, finally laid the last cards on the table. Karen was drowning in debt. Those home sales, all betting on my ranch road, were her last hope. If she couldn't deliver, her whole house of cards would come crashing down: bankruptcy, fraud, ruined reputation. Suddenly, all the pieces fit. This wasn't just power-hungry madness, it was pure cold desperation. That's when I decided to end it once and for all. Ray Molina, tough as Texas limestone and twice as reliable, came out, and together we planned the ultimate move: a wall. Not just any wall, a 12-foot-high, steel-reinforced concrete monster with solar-powered gates, security cameras, the works. Legally permitted as an agricultural security barrier, a tax break to boot. Cost me over 50 grand, but after months of sleepless nights and cattle chaos, it felt like a bargain. Of course, Karen went nuclear. She brought out the HOA Emergency Committee and Nervous County Inspector in tow, who, after examining our paperwork, pronounced everything in perfect compliance. She tried sabotage, caught on camera, wielding a crowbar at 2 a.m., but too clumsy to do real damage. She staged rallies, called news crews, brayed about community safety. Meanwhile, I dropped a folder full of evidence, deeds, permits, 47 logged incidents, documentation of her fraud right in front of every reporter in town. That's when her world started unraveling. Home buyers, furious at being scammed, canceled contracts, demanded refunds, threatened lawsuits. The Texas Real Estate Commission suspended her license on live TV. Deputy Martinez, warrant in hand, arrested her at the county fair fraud, trespassing, property damage, vehicle assault. She actually tried to ram my new gate with her BMW, didn't make it through, but wrecked her car good. I stood there at the fair, hand on my wall, the crowd applauding louder than a 4th of July fireworks show, and felt peace. Real hard-earned Texas peace. Karen pled guilty, lost her license for good paid restitution, sold her mansion at a loss, slunk off back to Dallas to work a regular job, and the new HOA president, a reasonable soul, came by to apologize, promising neighborly respect from here on out. Ray's company got so many calls, he started advertising built to stop BMWs and bullies. The insurance company slashed my premiums. The wall became a local landmark, a case study in property rights seminars. Even the legislature took notice, my story now a lesson in what happens when you stand your ground. But here's what really matters. The quiet returned. Mornings on the porch, coffee in hand. Sarah's garden, thriving, the cattle calm. The community healed, barbecue at the ranch, city folks and country folks laughing together, respect restored. Scholarship funds for local kids paid for my speaking fees, because everyone deserves a shot at building something lasting. Sometimes I sit out by the wall in the evening watching the sky turn Texas red and think maybe the real lesson here isn't about winning or walls or even justice. It's about knowing where you stand, what you'll fight for, and how sometimes the right thing takes every ounce of grit you've got. Most folks, when given the real story, pick truth over trouble. And peace, true peace, is worth every scar you pick up along the way. So now I'll ask you, what would you have done if someone tried to steal your legacy right out from under you? Where's the line between standing up for your rights and going too far? Is justice always this satisfying, or does it only taste this sweet after a long, bitter fight? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share your own stories about neighbors' property or just standing your ground. I'm listening, and so is the whole damn county.